The most recent 1.17 snapshots have added a plethora of brand new decorative blocks. From azalea bushes and moss carpets to drip leaves and glow lichen, builders now have access to even more decorative blocks and items. So, without further ado, let's take a look at these designs. Our first design is in this greenhouse over here. We have three areas over here. Let's take a look on the right first. So as you can see, we've got an extra tall hedge using the azalea bush and the moss block on it, and I think it looks really nice. It adds a lot of variety to your plants, having these extra tall plants. They sort of look like bonsai trees if you don't have the second layer on, so yeah, you can have a lot of designs using the azalea bush. Then over here we have a Venus flytrap using the small drip leaves. We do have to sacrifice a bit of the design by putting it on some clay blocks, which unfortunately you can't avoid, but you can put spruce trapdoors around it to make it look a bit better. And then we have some black candles around it which sort of look like flies hovering around the fly trap. And over here we have some kind of plant box or propagator or something, and as you can see, we've used the azalea, the flowering azalea, alongside the grass blocks to sort of look like flowers on the grass, and then we've paired it with the pink tulips and the moss carpet to add some variety and some depth to it. But I think this is a really nice greenhouse design. I've also used some more 1.17 blocks here and there which I think look great. Moving on, we have a garden design with a patio and a lawn, and this lawn design is really nice. It has a striped pattern using the moss and the grass, and the great thing about this is that unlike using things like lime terracotta or green concrete powder, you can actually plant flowers and things on this moss, so it makes it a lot better, and it does look like a freshly mowed lawn, which is great. We've also got a hedge around here using the azalea, the flowering azalea and things like that, with the moss blocks on top, which looks really nice as a natural hedge. And then up here we have a springtime tree with a blossom on it, so we have the flowering azalea leaves on it, which sort of looks like budding leaves. And then over here we have the white stained glass with glow lichen over it, which sort of looks like white blossomy leaves, which look great. And on the floor we have the flowering azalea as like a blossom or buds that have fallen to the floor, and then we have the glow lichen on some snow, which looks like fallen blossom or something. Then over here we do have a chair and table setup and things, but the main thing here is this overhang area. It's a simple design using campfires and spruce fences. We've got the azalea leaves mixed in. Then we have the glowberries without the berries on them, which look like really nice dangling vines which hang from the ceiling. And then we have the spore blossom, which drops some really nice particles on there, and that does actually go on the campfires, which is great. And then right at the end we're using the big drip leaves as a bench. Unfortunately you have to crouch on it for it to actually function, but oh well. It does look like a really nice natural bench if you think about it. Next up, we have a Hobbit Hole, and I love how this turned out because the moss blocks here are basically six-sided grass blocks that you can still grow plants on it, and that makes it perfect for hobbit holes and things like that. You can still mix it with grass, but it does look fabulous. It works really well with the grass, so it does just look like a generic hobbit hole, but you don't have to have any of the dirt on the side that the grass would normally show. This looks fantastic. We've also got a little design over here using the glow item frames, which sort of makes it look like a little window. Obviously you can't actually look through it, but I think it's a neat design nonetheless. And underneath this moss carpet we do have some shroom lights, which acts like really nice hidden lighting. Definitely one of the best forms of hidden lighting in the game. And over here we have a little pond. We have the big drip leaves as lily pads, and we also have some brown candles on top of the waterlogged small drip leaves, which act sort of like bulrushes, or if you're in the US, I guess you'd call them cattails. So yeah, this is a really nice design, definitely one of the main things I'll be building with the new 1.17 blocks. Moving on, I have taken a look at this Termite Mound design before, but the main thing here is the rooted dirt. Now this rooted dirt could look like one of two things. Firstly, it could be a piece of dirt that's teeming with termites or ants, which looks perfect for these termite mounds, or it could also look like some rotten planks infested by termites or something, which also looks really great. Once again, I have looked at a similar design to this in the past. The main thing is just incorporating this rooted dirt, which works really well with the dripstone, but overall this is a really nice design. I can't wait to use this in some kind of savanna biome or something like that, especially when termites eventually get added from the biome vote that we had a while back. Next up, this is a perfect little crop field for anyone with those kinds of builds in your world, and this is a cornfield. Now, as you can see, you do have to sacrifice a bit of the prettiness by putting clay underneath the small drip leaves. It would be nice if we could plant these small drip leaves on moss or something, just so it could still be planted on a green surface and didn't look too out of place here. You may not like this design because of that, but ignoring that, this does look really nice as it's just the small drip leaves with some yellow candles on top, and it does look really like the corn fields that you get in places. And this could work in all kinds of different builds, especially a medieval design or a western design. I do love this build. And also in the path over here, we do have rooted dirt mixed in. It's just another nice dirt block to go in the grass. And the great thing about it as well is that the grass does not spread over to it. So it's a very similar, it's sort of like a variant of the coarse dirt. Next up, I don't actually see too many little rock pools too often, but I think these are really great for any coastline that you decide to build. And this looks great in my opinion. So as you can see, I've used a number of blocks for the rock pools themselves. I've used the dead brain coral and the cobblestone and the mossy cobblestone. And then on top of it, we have seaweed using the moss carpet and the glow lichen and things like that. Now the rock pool itself has things like skulk sensors, which act sort of like seaweed or anemones or something, which are great. And we also have the coral and dead coral fans and things acting as anemones. But the main thing here is the rooted dirt. Now, one great feature with the rooted dirt is that you can place it on a block and break the block and it will remain in place. Now, that may be a bug. It will likely be fixed in the future. But for now, for the time being, it does make for some great anemones. And even if they do patch that in the future, there's no reason you couldn't use it as anemones just hanging on the top of a block anyway. I do think these look really nice. Let me know what you think of this one down below. And will you ever build some rock pools in the game? I haven't really seen too many people doing it, but it is a really nice feature and does work really well on coastlines. And as you know, it was recently Valentine's Day, so I did have to go for a lovely romantic restaurant design. So let's take a look at this. Firstly, we have a little bench or a shelf or something over here using the drip leaves. Once again, we have some candles and a flower pot on it. It does look really nice with a green theme, and it does work well with the dark oak background. Also, we do have some waterlogged skulk sensors behind these lodestones, so it sort of looks like speakers blasting music. Obviously, you do have to walk or place blocks or something for it to create the particles, but it does look really nice anyway. And then over here we do have a nice tablecloth design using the azalea. It's a really nice green tablecloth. You may not want to use it in every build because you may not want green tablecloths everywhere, but it still looks nice nonetheless. And then above it we do have a spore blossom, because you can actually place it on a block, remove the blocks, and then add the end rods just like so. It does look really nice. Of course, that may also be patched in the future. I do hope it doesn't get patched, but it doesn't really matter if that happens. Next up, I do realize this may be stretching the idea of a build hack, and this is more of a build tip, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest. As you can see, we've got a gradient going from cobblestone to mossy cobblestone to moss, and this is almost seamless. Obviously, there are a few rough edges here and there, but for the most part, it is really great for blending the cobblestone into a green block. It could work for flooring best, but it could also work for some kind of decrepit sewer wall or something like that, which could look really nice. And then over here we also have a gradient going from the coarse dirt to the regular dirt to the rooted dirt to the granite. And the granite and the rooted dirt goes well really nicely. It does mix really nicely. It sort of looks like the dirt is slightly covering the granite itself, but it does look really nice, and it makes for a seamless transition on the floor or the walls of any builds. For our penultimate design, we once again have a path over here with some azalea, some flowering azalea, and some moss and some rooted dirt and things, which looks really nice. Over here we have some vine thingy majiggies. I'm not really sure what they're called, but as you can see, we've got sweet berries along the bottom, the flowering azalea leaves on the top, and then we've got some kind of structure holding it up with the spruce trapdoors and the spruce fences, which looks really nice. Over here we have an oak tree with some lichen on it and some spore blossom, creating really nice falling leaf particles, which look really great and make a really nice atmospheric feeling. And then we have the flowering azalea as sort of flowering or leaves or something with fruit in it. Maybe this is a plum tree or something. That looks really nice. And then we have the glowberries, which acts sort of like a rope swing design, as we have a blackstone tire at the bottom, which looks great. Let me know what you think of this down below. Anyway, let's move on. Last but certainly not least, I'm going to shut up for a bit. Just listen. Yes, one great thing about the moss carpet is that you can hide it on top of things like ender chests, which create really nice particle effects, and you can also hide it on the amethyst blocks, which create a really nice musical note feeling. I can really imagine this in some kind of enchanted magical forest, and it looks so nice. And it does create a really nice mystical effect when you're walking through it. Of course, you do have to have your game sounds turned right up for it, but it does sound really nice when you're playing around with it. Also, we do have some falling leaves using the spore blossom, again, mixed in with the leaves. You do need to use things like moss blocks and things to sort of hide it, because if you don't want that pink colour popping out, it is kind of difficult to get the falling leaf effect without seeing the pink. But if you can make it so people are more focused on the ground, it's a lot easier to not notice it as much. But yeah, let me know what you think of this design. Will you ever utilize things like particles and things in your builds? It's a really great way of making it more atmospheric into your builds. And there we have it, all 10 designs. Let me know what you think of them down below. Thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, please, as usual, leave any more suggestions down below. Thank you so much for almost 3,000 subscribers. I really do appreciate it. We're on the road to 5,000, hopefully in a few months. That would be awesome. But anyway, thank you for watching. Feel free to join my Discord and follow me on all my socials in the description. Click all the links down there. But anyway, bye for now. I'll see you all next time.